there's no question Minnesota's not playing great baseball right now, but that losing streak, let's point out that prior to last night losing the first game of the series to Washington, they had played the Yankees and they had played Cleveland. Last time I looked at the standings, those are two pretty good baseball teams in the American League. So let's not totally overreact to that. And I'm looking at the matchup here. You've got Joe Ryan going for Minnesota in this game, and he has pitched well on the road this year. He's had 4 starts. He's got an ERA of 1.85 in those 4 starts. Even more impressive has been his whip, which is 0.98, just under 1 base runner per inning. Last 3 starts, strikeout to walk ratio. You know, I love to look at that angle. 17-2 on the strikeout to walk ratio, telling me he's had full command of his pitches. Now let's flip to the other side and take a look at who's on the mound for Washington. And it's Pat Corbin. This is a guy that struggled over the last several years. Baffles me that he's still in a starting rotation for Washington, but they don't have any other options. He's got an ERA this year of 5.59, but what's even worse than that ERA is his whip, 1.73. You're nearly putting 2 guys on base every inning. I don't care who you are. You do that, bad things are going to happen, and that's what's been happening to him. Now, Teddy might point out to me, well, his last start looked pretty good. He went 5 2/3 innings and only gave up 2 runs. On the surface, yes, but 2 things to point out. One was he was playing the White Sox, and as you pointed out, you know, that's one of the bottom feeders in baseball, the White Sox. And the other thing, and this is the big part for me, he went into the 6th inning. He had 0 strikeouts. That's a big red flag for me looking at him and telling him that he was dancing through the raindrops through those innings, not getting anybody out by the strikeout. So I am going to go ahead and look at Minnesota, but because they have found ways to lose games, I'm not going to go the full game. I'm going to go first 5 innings in this one. And why I'm going to go first 5 innings in this one is I don't want the bullpen to be involved. I want to look at the mismatch I feel I have with Joe Ryan versus the Pat Corbin and give another angle to Ryan. This is the first time he's pitched against Washington. What do we always say? The pitcher has the advantage first time through the league when facing a team. That's an advantage for him. I'll have him outpitch Pat Corbin for the first 5. Give me Minnesota. I'll lay the half a run. That brings the price down to a reasonable number. We don't have to lay that big price on a team that's lost 7 in a row.
So from a thought process standpoint, Marco, I understand that we all need plays. You know, you got to have stuff to talk about on the show. But I don't understand this one at all. All right. You have an ice-cold Twins team, and they're ice-cold. They've lost 7 in a row. The most runs they've scored in any game during that span was 4, and they've been held to 2 or less, 5 times. They got 3 yesterday. The Nationals are a team. Brian Leonard came on before the season started, said, watch out for Washington. No one's paying any attention. All they've done is make people money this year. Washington. You talk about Corbin and Corbin's issues. Well, each of his last 3 starts, you worry about his strikeouts. He's a ground ball pitcher. He's not a strikeout pitcher. Each of his last 3 starts, good. Maybe dominant. They're 3-1 his last 4 trips to the hill. They're winning for Corbin. He's allowed, a grand total of 6 earned runs in 3 starts this month. He's been good. Washington's been winning for him. Explain how you can, like the thought process of, all right, yeah, I want to lay a price or I want to lay a half run first 5 with an ice cold team against an opponent that has an overachieving pitcher and an overachieving lineup right now. I'm interested. I'm not trying to rip you. I'm interested in because I could never get there laying $1.80 with with any price with a team that's on a 7-game skid.
Yeah, well, obviously I'm not laying the $1.80. I'm going the first 5. Me and you see Pat Corbin differently. I know he gives up a lot of hits. He's dancing through the raindrops for me. If you look at all of those games that you talk about, he hasn't given up a lot of runs. he's given up a lot of hits in those games. And that's also why you see the situation between the hits and the walks with him with a high whip. And I'm going to point one other thing out on Minnesota. Yes, they're on a losing streak, but so is Washington right now. They won last night. Okay, give them the win last night. They're 1-5. They had lost 5 in a row prior to that. Granted, they did face Philadelphia in one of those series, but the other series was the White Sox. That's not good losses. But here's the stat on Minnesota. And I pointed it out at the beginning about who they played, Teddy. They played Cleveland and they played the Yankees. Both teams have good pitching, and both teams are playing well right now. Here's a stat that I know you probably didn't have, and I saved it for the rebuttal because I knew you'd come strong at me with taking a play like this. As bad as Minnesota's playing right now, when they face a team with a losing record, and whether Washington has made teams money or not because they've been a big dog all year, all they have to do is be close to 500, and that'll turn a profit when you're a big dog. They're a losing team. They have a sub-500 record. Minnesota's 12-2 this year when they face teams with losing records. So they lost last night. You can throw that in my face. Washington beat them last night, but I'm going to take them game 2 here to get it. And you know what? They don't have to win the game, Teddy. They just have to win the first 5.